for a hike this morning in Cap Sauers Holdings. Across Busy Willow Springs Road to get to the trailhead, which goes into a thicket of honeysuckle, which the Forest Preserve District hasn't removed yet. Cap Sauers Holdings is a forest preserve on the far southwest part of Cook County, and supposedly there's a place in here where you're farther from any road than any other place in Cook County. So supposedly it's kind of remote, and actually it kind of is, because I've hiked here before. And once you get off this main trail, because there is a small trail that kind of winds through the nature preserve, there have been times that I have not met another person when I'm hiking in here off of this main trail, especially on a weekday like today. Now I've gotten to a point where they actually have done habitat restoration, removed the honeysuckle and other invasives, and haven't gotten to it on the right side of the trail here. So you can see a big difference. So here is where the small foot trail goes off the main path. The main path is open to horses and bikes, I believe, but you can see on the sign there are no horses, no bikes allowed on this path. And this is new. The sign says they have hidden cameras in here. So that's a good thing, because I've been in here, and like as I said before, I've sometimes not run into anybody else, but sometimes I have, and a few times people on horseback, and they know they're not supposed to be in here, but they do it anyway. This part of Cook County is actually quite hilly, and you might ask, well, why didn't the glaciers flatten it? Well, the glaciers actually are what made it hilly, because as the glaciers are treated, they dumped a lot of stuff, and so this area is full of moraines and what are called eskers, and we're going to be going up on an esker. That's the old stream bed, an old stream bed that flowed underneath the glacier. I'm back in a honeysuckle thicket here, so it's going to take time for the district to get rid of all of this stuff. There's this nice little stream. So you use stepping stones to get across, but something weird's going on here. Just down here below this riffle, there's all this suds. I've never seen this before. I don't think that that is natural. I wonder if somebody dumped some sort of detergent in here. Just give you an idea how kind of thick and impenetrable these honeysuckle thickets can be. This is all Amur honeysuckle, and it all needs to be removed. It's actually really not good wildlife habitat, except in the fall when the berries are out, and that's the problem, because the birds eat the berries and spread them everywhere. I've made my way through the honeysuckle thicket, and this is interesting. It kind of gives away here to this little prairie. So I come out, and got this little prairie. Looks to me like maybe somebody had a fire over to the right there, and there's still plenty of honeysuckle up on that hillside. And I mentioned earlier eskers. That is actually part of Visitation Esker up there. It runs down over this way, and it runs quite a ways. And this trail will climb it and then follow the crest for a mile or two. Oh my God, what a horrendous climb, huh? It will be really nice when they get all of this honeysuckle cleared out of here. That wasn't the end of the climb. Climb further up here. And then we get to the top of the esker. And here it is. There's one of the prettiest little spring wildflowers. Yeah, it's called Spring Beauty. It goes from white to pink and purple, depending. These are kind of on the white side. But there are places where these things just carpet the ground in the spring before the trees leave out. Well, I thought I'd stop for a rest here at the top of Visitation Esker. As I mentioned before, an esker is kind of the gravel stream bed of a stream that flowed underneath a glacier. And so as it flowed, it dropped material, gravel, dirt, all kinds of stuff. And when the glacier retreated, what we were left with is this long kind of winding ridge. So the point of this hike today was really not photography so much as to get out and enjoy a nice spring day. So I've gone completely minimalistic here. I have got my Lumix ZS200 in this little camera case. I've got my iPhone 16 Pro, and I have the Osmo Pocket 3 for doing this sort of thing. But as I've found in the past, it's perfectly able to get really pretty nice photos with this kind of kit. And if there's times that you just don't want to carry a lot of stuff, and as we get older, those times get more and more frequently, let me tell you. Also, there are supposed to be bald eagle nests in here, again, because it's fairly remote and not a lot of people to bother or harass the eagles. So, but the Forest Preserve District will not say where those are because they don't want people going to those spots. So, I'm going to continue on my hike and just try and get some nice images. Like I say, it's a really nice spring day, pretty bright. Forecast was for overcast. Not so much right now, but we'll see how the day progresses. Yeah, see down behind me there's this rather sizable marsh kind of on the west side of the esker. Visitation Esker. I have no idea why it's called Visitation Esker. There's actually the ruins of an old boys' summer camp over here. It was called Visitation Boys Camp, and you can find a reference to that on the internet, but really no information at all about it. But it's these stone structures that are pretty much completely in ruins now, so kind of interesting. But you can hear chorus frogs down in the marsh, a lot of red-winged blackbirds. It's very good habitat for birds that want to be near water. So. As I mentioned earlier, This is a glacial landscape, and there's a big boulder. That boulder is probably at least a meter across, maybe more, so a yard or so. But that was dropped here. That rock, geologically, probably comes from the Canadian Shield, very far north of here, and then the glaciers just dropped it right here on the side of the esker as it was retreating. And you see these things really all over. In fact, if you dig here, anywhere around here, you hit a lot of rock that's been left by the glaciers. And if you follow Visitation Esker far enough, you get to Visitation Prairie. Another little creek here. The trail continues on and actually rejoins the main trail up here. But if I go up this way, it's a long way back on the main trail. Kind of loops around. That's also kind of boring. So I'm going to stop my hike here. So I got this little creek that runs down here. And then over here, this is kind of cool. There's this big red maple tree. That is a red maple. And a lot of maples tend to grow where it's wet, so no surprise finding it here. But this thing in the fall gets some really good color on it. And it looks like over the winter it lost a big piece. You can see it lying down there to the right. And unfortunately, the overcast that was forecast for today has not developed. So it's about noon, maybe a little after, and a lot of harsh light.